Now at 9, a tornado tears through parts of southeast Kansas and southwest Missouri early this morning. We show you some of the worst damage in Nevada. Plus, that same twister levels Moundville's only gas station. See how the community is coming together to rebuild.
President Trump lays out his new tariff plan. Now America's biggest trading partners are considering how to hit back. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have the latest coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
4 staters are assessing storm damage, salvaging what they can, and cleaning up. It appears much of the damage is from a single tornado that swept through parts of 2 states. It touched down in the area of Arma and Arcadia in southeast Kansas around 7:12 this morning, and it remained on the ground as it crossed into Missouri, moving into the Moundville and Nevada area before finally leaving Vernon County just before 8 a.m. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. The threat of severe weather is over for now, but the storms this morning definitely left their mark, and we have team coverage of the damage around the area. We're going to start in Nevada, where a number of homes and businesses are damaged. City Manager Gary Edwards says it's too early to estimate the total damage, but it appears to be substantial. He says the tornado appeared to hop, and the damage is severe in multiple locations. A volunteer station is now set up at the Centennial Hall building on the Nevada Fairgrounds, and there are cots available at the community center.
In the field, working on the roads, where roads have been closed. I believe every road is now open. We've opened the community center to people. If their home was damaged or destroyed, they can go to the community center.
Vernon County Sheriff Mike Bueller says after the storm, more than 4,100 people were without power. As of this evening, that number is down to around 1,000. He also says his department is increasing patrols tonight and will not tolerate looting. The storm also tore through the town of Moundville. As you can see, the roofs of several buildings sustained considerable damage, as well as a number of uprooted trees. Now, residents there are beginning the process of recovery. As KOAM's Anthony Saviello reports, some have gone out of their way to help make that process easier.
It was really loud and scary and not a pleasant experience, but I was very thankful to come out of it the way I did. Coming out was the first time it hit me emotionally. Everyone knows the station in Moundville, and when I looked to my left and saw it was gone, the first thing I did was went and found Craig and made sure he was okay.
The only gas station in the small town of Moundville leveled, and it's only a glimpse of the devastation throughout the entire town.
When I was walking around earlier, there's over 30 houses that are missing roofs. I don't know if you know or not, but the post office is damaged. So it is being closed down and moved to Bernal. So any Moundville people, you're going to have to go to Bernal to pick up your mail. There's no mail in Moundville right now. Had to go to Bernal.
Despite the postal inconvenience and the damage done, no injuries were reported, and the focus now shifts to rebuilding.
I'm not sure what that rebuild looks like, but we're off to a good start on the cleanup process.
And with the help of others,
it's just a beautiful thing to know that people can kind of set their lives aside. Everybody's got problems, right? So we only know, God only knows what everybody's going through, but yet they set that aside to come out and help people because they're in need. That is the beauty of being in a small town too.
I live east of Moundville. I'm just coming up, helping out. There's a huge need. Everybody's trees are down. You know, we all work together, and then it gets done a little bit faster. So
all of these people are volunteers. They just live in the local area, and they show up, and they have equipment, and we're cleaning the streets, making the streets where they're passable. And people don't even know who they're helping, but yet they got chainsaws and they're out there doing it, and equipment's moving it. And when a community comes together, you don't really have to ask.
That process can begin. In Moundville, Missouri, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
On top of all the community help, MoDOT, Missouri Highway Patrol, the Sheriff's Office, and the Red Cross have come through Moundville to provide assistance. Meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, taking a look, we have a flood watch in effect for a couple of our southern counties. Now, you can see National Weather Service did a survey on that tornado that went through Arma, Arcata into Nevada, reported about an EF1 rating, but that's still in the preliminary report. The same up in Butler area, Preliminary reports said there was an EF0 tornado. Those are the 2 confirmed on the ground tornadoes that are in our area, but there was Webb City warnings set off early in the morning as well. Mostly, as of right now, just due to funnel clouds, but nothing touched the ground. No damage has been reported. Now we're clear for the rest of the night, but we are heading into the week where we see a lot more rain chances. Heavy rainfall starting tomorrow morning, continuing well into the weekend, Saturday and even into Sunday morning, though low risk for both Friday and Thursday as of right now, but I'm going to have a full forecast coming up.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. There appears to be much less damage in the area of Arma and Arcadia, where the tornado apparently first touched down. Residents in that area tell us they heard the tornado pass and took shelter. And some homes and businesses do have damage.
Woke up around 7:20 this morning to alarms going off in Arcadia, and we can hear them, and we're about 3 miles outside the city limits, and I could hear them. And we could also hear a sound I've never heard, having lived in Kansas most of my life. It was a very, very scary sound and a very still in the area. I immediately ran to my basement and started contacting the neighbors.
Got my daughter up, getting her ready for school. Heard Doug Hetty come on the TV when I turned it on, saying that at that point it was in Arma, and we took shelter in the bathroom. It was coming our way, and when it got here, it's like the house started shaking. Really, honestly, I thought to have more damage than this. When I came out and looked, it sounds bad, but pleasantly surprised.
At the time of our interview, Irwin was still without power, but says he is grateful he only had minor damages. Well, KOAM had planned to hold our Hero Fund USA telethon today during our noon, 5 and 6 p.m. newscast to help raise money for area first responders. But because of our storm coverage, that telethon is postponed, and we'll let you know when we do reschedule it. Authorities in Seneca, Missouri respond to reports of a fire early this morning. Multiple agencies arrived to find a fire at the former veterinary clinic at Highway 43 and Kentucky Road. Crews found 2 other buildings were fully involved, and there were no reports of injuries. The veterinary clinic closed a number of years ago. Coming up, diplomacy versus military force.
President Trump considers both diplomacy and military force as the U.S. fights Iranian proxies in the Mideast. I'm Alexandria Hoff in Washington. I've got the details coming up.
But up first, Republicans could defund Planned Parenthood without lifting a finger if the Supreme Court rules in their favor. As health officials across the country fight an intensifying measles outbreak, they're forced to cut back on vaccination events due to federal budget cuts. The CDC reports at least 483 confirmed cases in 19 states. The hardest hit by far is Texas, where officials confirmed 22 infections in just the past 5 days. But in Dallas County, health officials say they've had to cancel more than 50 vaccination events because of HHS grants that were cut off. Mpox has the potential to become a major global health threat. Researchers from the University of Surrey say the disease, once referred to as monkeypox, is traditionally spread from animals to humans, but is now showing clear signs of human-to-human transmission. Doctors say we need to invest more testing and treatments. The Supreme Court hears oral arguments in a case which could have wider ramifications for abortion access across the nation. Justices are weighing if states can exclude Planned Parenthood from Medicaid funds because of its abortion services. Jared Halpern has more from Washington.
Dozens of protesters gather on the steps of the Supreme Court to rally for Planned Parenthood. Inside, justices heard oral arguments about South Carolina's attempt to remove the organization's clinics from its Medicaid program because it offers abortion services.
Our fundamental right to health care should not be up for debate. Stop playing politics with our lives.
Supporters argue defunding Planned Parenthood will hurt low-income patients in the state, many who have had trouble finding a doctor that will accept publicly funded insurance. Critics say federal law prohibits Medicaid dollars from being used for abortions in most cases. They also argue South Carolina currently bans abortions at 6 weeks.
It's not a question of whether abortions are right or wrong or to what extent. It's a question of who has to pay for it. And those people who do not want to pay for it, for this particular thing, should not have to.
Inside, justices appeared divided, expressing concern on whether low-income Medicaid patients can sue in order to choose their own health care not related to abortion, as Planned Parenthood also provides a range of medical services. Attorneys for South Carolina say they feel confident the justices will rule in their favor.
We felt very good about how the argument went today. The justices seemed to get the point that we were making, which is that Congress creates rights enforceable in federal court only when it uses clear, explicit language in a statute, and that the provision we're talking about today simply doesn't have that.
In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Lindsay is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, tornado devastation in Nevada, Missouri. A woman loses her future home and her family business just one day before moving in.
Well, we started the day off pretty rocky. We had some severe weather move through the area. And tonight, though, we're looking good. Taking a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. We have mostly clear skies tonight. Overall, not too bad, a light breeze, but we are watching as more storms move in. So you can see a few clouds making their way through the 4 states, but really, we're looking good. Now, you can see that line of storms that wreaked havoc on our area earlier this morning, now moving into Kentucky, Tennessee, and you can see quite a few tornadoes warned on that system. So it's still moving, and pretty strong system as well. So as we head into the next 24 hours, we have more rain chances spiking about 8 to 9 a.m. in the morning. Now, our severe threat's very limited. It's going to stay just south of us, and we have a little bit of a marginal risk there south of I-44. A few thunderstorms may push in, but really we're not expecting a big threat. However, rain is going to be our biggest threat. Heavy rainfall, flooding risks, and flash flooding as well. So by 7:30, you can start to see some of these rain showers pushing into the area. Thunderstorms south of I-44, a couple more moving into the western counties, making their way across into the Missouri side, but most of this is going to be really heavy rain. Might get some rumbles of thunder. Not looking at a severe threat with this system, but heavy rainfall, especially with all the rain we've already seen today. More rain moving through, and on top of that, some of the areas that have already been damaged as well from the wind and tornadoes from this morning. This is going to be even more chaos as we go through the next couple of days. So this is about noon, still seeing some heavy rain showers through most of the afternoon, clearing out overnight. We have a nice little break, but Friday morning, 5:30, you can see all these thunderstorms start to push in again. Now, taking a look south of Veneta, south of Bella Vista, thunderstorms. Now, that is another marginal risk for severe weather. You can see how it's pushing in. Biggest threat for that system will be large hail, and it's kind of creeping in a little too close to home for us, just south of I-44 all the way up to Miami, but it doesn't stay strong, does break apart. We have more widespread rain, widespread thunderstorms. Again, that first little intro up to Veneta, Miami, and maybe even south of Seneca, south of Monette, could see some thunderstorms with that. But as we push through the rest of the day, widespread rain and thunderstorms. That continues well into Friday afternoon and even Saturday as well. But like I said, our severe risk is still going to be limited through the rest of the week. Friday, this is that marginal risk. You can see it pushes in a little bit further north, covering now Joplin, but that's still going to be a low risk. Biggest threat is that heavy rainfall and that possible hail risk early Friday morning. Now, about 2 inches in Joplin for rain, 4 inches in Bentonville. So if you're south of I-44, definitely going to see a lot more rainfall out in Chanute, less than 1/4 of an inch. So some areas may not see as much rainfall, but over the next 24 to 48 hours, that's going to be our biggest threat. Now, as we head into the weekend, you can see temperatures cool down. Still rain showers on Saturday and a few more light showers on Sunday. You might even see a couple of flurries, but you can see temperatures are well into the 50s, so that's not going to be a big concern.
But nothing as severe as what we saw early this morning.
No, as of right now, we're just looking at heavy rainfall, but you know, with the damage and a lot of roofs being damaged, that's still going to be a big problem.
Hopefully we can get those covered quickly.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Lindsay. Well, one of the businesses that suffered extensive damage is Nevada Oaks, where many Missouri Institute of Welding students live. KOAM's Melissa Alexis spoke to the owner of the business and has her story.
After a tornado hit Nevada, Missouri, a woman's future home and family business were destroyed.
I don't know, this is a shock.
Sherry Snyder is a resident of Nevada, Missouri, and she recently bought a new home, a home that happened to be destroyed by the tornado one day before her scheduled move-in day.
But we could see the house from one of our cameras, so we could already see on the camera that the house was destroyed. We just didn't know about the garage, couldn't really see it.
And she says she almost stayed the night at the home and says she's glad she didn't. One of the reasons she was moving to the home is to be close to her family business, which is just a few feet away from the home. The family business is called Nevada Oaks, where Missouri Welding Institute students live.
I thought, well, this would be nice to live over here for a good 9 months so I could be closer to my dad and be here to run, the place for him.
She says the business is her and her dad's pride and joy.
My dad and I, we love the welding students. My dad, we eat, sleep, and breathe this place, so we're here all the time. Other family members are here and work here, and that's the sad part. We've all bonded and had a really good time doing this together.
Snyder says she hopes she can rebuild both the home and Nevada Oaks. But for now, she's still in a state of shock.
I'm not sure what the next steps are going to be. I think everybody's just in shock right now, and when that wears off, we'll probably sit down and discuss as a family of what to do next.
And now she says she's just happy her welding students are safe. Reporting in Nevada, I'm Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Well, Snyder says the only person she's aware of who suffered injuries is a maintenance man who works for Nevada Oaks. Well, coming up, saving TikTok.
The clock is ticking for TikTok to be sold to American investors or face a ban in the U.S. I'm Rebecca Castor at the White House with the latest on attempts to save the popular app.
Remember when TikTok went dark for a few hours in January because of a government ban? It could happen again this weekend unless the president approves a U.S. buyer or extends the deadline for the Chinese company to sell the popular social media app. Rebecca Castor has the latest from the White House.
I'm still in denial about this ban. I still don't think it will happen.
TikTokers across the country want to know if their favorite app will still be usable on Saturday, or if they'll once again wake up to this message. Sorry, TikTok isn't available right now.
I'm not gonna cry anymore. I know that things are still being done.
I'd like to see TikTok remain alive.
President Trump's executive order buying TikTok's parent company more time to sell the app expires on Saturday, but Trump seems confident a deal will be reached before the deadline.
We have a lot of people that want to buy TikTok. We're dealing with China also on it because they may have something to do with it.
Oracle, Blackstone, and Amazon are just some of the companies reportedly bidding for the app. And Trump met with senior advisors Wednesday to mull over the options.
I'm an advocate for small business. We use this product every single day. It's 60% of our digital spend. Nobody wants it turned off. Whatever it takes, we'll figure it out.
But some lawmakers still feel the app poses a major national security risk.
The ability for China to still control the content that literally hundreds of millions of Americans watch each day as a propaganda tool will still exist.
If a sale isn't in the works by Saturday, President Trump could always extend the deadline, but he could face legal issues if lawmakers decide to challenge him on it this time. At the White House, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Up next, a three-car crash in Joplin sends one vehicle into a community clinic. As storms rolled through our area this morning, authorities in Joplin responded to reports of a crash involving 3 cars at 7th and Joplin. Now, one of the vehicles crashed into the front of the community clinic building. 2 of the vehicles had to be towed. One was able to drive from the scene. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. President Trump declares a Liberation Day as new tariffs take effect, but critics warn they could trigger economic fallout. And a second U.S. carrier strike group heads to the Middle East as tensions with Iran-backed Houthi rebels escalate.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Buck. President Trump unveils the details of his massive tariff plan, which he says will promote U.S. manufacturing. But as Caroline Shively reports, it's raising concerns about higher costs.
We never charged anybody anything, but now we're going to charge.
President Trump detailed sweeping tariffs in a ceremony Wednesday afternoon. 10% on all imports, plus reciprocal tariffs on 60 countries the White House says have unfair trade barriers.
Foreign nations will finally be asked to pay for the privilege of access to our market, the biggest market in the world.
The White House says the pressure of tariffs will make manufacturers return to the U.S.
If you want your tariff rate to be zero, then you build your product right here in America, because there is no tariff if you build your plant, your product in America.
Economists warn shifting manufacturing from overseas to the U.S. could take years, while consumers could feel the pain within weeks.
Anything you do to reduce trade between trading partners, whether it's me and my barber or me and Walmart, anything you do to interfere with that normally makes people worse off than they would otherwise be.
A CBS poll this week found 72% of Americans expect higher prices from the tariffs.
This administration came in the door saying they would lower costs and ease burdens on American families. These tariffs would do the exact opposite.
Foreign trading partners are now considering retaliation measures.
We have prepared for all eventualities, and we will rule nothing out.
Also in the mix, a 25% levy on foreign-made autos starting on Thursday. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Well, Boeing faces tough questions from senators about its safety record following high-profile incidents. New CEO Kelly Ortberg says the company is prioritizing safety over speed after a series of accidents, including a mid-flight door panel failure in January. Lawmakers remain skeptical, with some questioning whether Boeing can still produce safe aircraft. President Trump considers both diplomacy and military force as the U.S. fights Iranian proxies in the Mideast. Fox News correspondent Alexandria Hoff has more from Washington.
A second American carrier strike group is now heading to the Middle East to confront the growing threat from Iranian-backed Houthi rebels. Last month, the Trump administration launched a series of devastating attacks aimed at stopping the Houthis from continuing to attack American ships. President Trump then issued a blunt warning, telling the Houthis, quote, "The real pain is yet to come."
Iran is incredibly weakened as a result of these attacks, and this operation will not stop until the freedom of navigation in this region is restored.
But the Houthis say they have no intention of giving up the fight, linking their attack with the ongoing war in Gaza.
We will continue to prevent Israeli navigation in the Red and Arabian Seas until the aggression on Gaza stops.
President Trump is now pivoting to the source of the Houthis' funding and arms, Iran. On Tuesday, the White House announced new sanctions targeting Tehran's missile and drone programs, hoping to stop the flow of weapons to proxy groups across the region.
They will only be able to be stopped by having us and our allies put tremendous pressure on them with economic sanctions.
At the same time, the president's also considering indirect talks with Iran about its nuclear program, calling it the best way to achieve peace through strength.
He's given them an ultimatum: stand your and dismantle your nuclear program, date certain, verification process in place. You don't do that, the consequences are clear.
President Trump had suggested direct talks on the nuclear issue, but that proposal was rejected by Iran. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
Well, Lindsay is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later, farming with sewage.
Some farms see wastewater as a means for fertilizer, but its long-term effects could have a negative impact on the environment. I'm Shaylee Painter, and I'll have more on that coming up.
Coffeyville Community College has been raking in the local recruits for its 2025 football signing class, and that continues today. Labette County High School senior Chris Stevens signs this afternoon to play football at Coffeyville Community College. He was a standout on the Grizzly offensive and defensive line for the past several seasons, and he helped Labette to a 4-4 record in 2024, along with a first-round playoff victory.
It'll be like a 30 minute drive for my family to come see me play, and my brother that lives in Coffeyville, just a few minute drive, so it'll be pretty easy for them, pretty easy for me.
And it's a busy day for signings in Southeast Kansas because over at Pittsburgh High School, a Purple Dragon gets the chance to sign this afternoon as well. Pittsburgh High School senior Lincoln Laverick signs today to continue his powerlifting career with Team New Hope at Special Olympics Kansas. Laverick says that PHS football head coach Josh Latimer first got him involved in lifting and that he's forever grateful to be a Purple Dragon.
It's really exciting, and to spend it with my family, it's fantastic, and friends and stuff. It's like a team it's like a fun atmosphere, and it's like you hang out with your friends and family, and it's closer to home.
Over to Monette, where Seneca baseball takes on Carl Junction. Top of the first, Bulldogs with 2 runners on, but Braden Rourke snags this liner, throws to second for the double play. Indians escape the jam, but in the bottom of the inning, Craig Hayes strikes out the first batter he sees. Then he runs into trouble. Bases loaded, 2 out. Silas Ball hits a chopper to third. Bulldogs can't make the play, and a run will score. Indians up 1-0. Next batter, Asher Prater hammers one to deep right. That's going to one-hop the fence, and he's got a stand-up double. Seneca up 4-0 after the first inning. Now to the second. Bulldogs have a man on third. The pitch gets away, and Aiden Strait slides in safely under the tag to put CJ on the board. Bulldogs score 7 more unanswered runs. They go on to win it 8-6. Now to Major League Baseball. Angels trying to sweep the Cardinals. Mike Trout still looking for his first home run of the season, and here it is. Top of the first inning, he puts the Angels on top 1-0. Fourth inning, score remains the same until this swing of the bat from Ivan Herrera. That is gone for a solo home run. We're tied at 1. We'd hear more from him. In fact, right here in the 6th inning, same score, Herrera back at the plate, and he crushes this pitch deep to left once again and gone for his second home run of the afternoon. Redbirds up 3-1. Now in the bottom of the 7th, they trail 5-3. Wilson Contreras comes through with a base hit into left. Mason Wynn will score. The throw to second here from the cutoff man gets away. So that means the Cardinals will score another run. They tie it up at 5. Now to the 8th inning. Cardinals, they lead 9-5. Herrera at the plate again, and somehow he tops his 2 previous bombs. Ivan Herrera goes 3 for 6 with 3 home runs and 6 runs batted in. Cardinals beat the Angels 12-5. Royals not quite as fortunate. They fall to the Brewers 3-2 in extra innings. Bryce Terang hits a walk-off bunt to end it in the bottom of the 11th. Back to that Cardinals game, though. Ivan Herrera, he's actually the first catcher in Cardinals history to hit 3 home runs in the same game. They've had some very good catchers, namely Yadier Molina, who was there for 15-plus years.
And I don't know if it was a hint, but somebody buy the guy a Big Mac, because he kept hitting it to Big Mac land.
He did,
over and over again. All right, thanks, John. We're back with more news after this. Farmers are recycling wastewater into fertilizer, but the process to turn the sewage sludge into food for crops may be leaving around some harmful chemicals. Fox News' Chanley Painter has more.
The sewer may not be the final destination for some wastewater. Farms across the country have been repurposing sewage sludge into fertilizer for decades.
Instead of sending them to a landfill where they do nothing, it's wasted, and we can reuse it somewhere to gain those nutrients back in the environment.
Treatment plants screen out large debris from the wastewater before filtering out and burning off pathogens in the remaining solids that turn into the fertilizer.
A big part of it is biological treatment, where we use bacteria to, for example, eliminate some nutrients.
While some farmers rely heavily on the repurposed fertilizer, their neighbors say the process stinks, literally.
It is an assault on all of your senses.
Issues with sewage sludge fertilizer go beyond just the smell. Environmental experts say while the wastewater is screened thoroughly, it often still contains forever chemicals that are harmful to the earth.
You can imagine if you have an industry that's using PFAS, obviously you might have very high concentrations.
13 states still allow sewage sludge fertilizer to be used for food crops, but that number could be shrinking as leaders in Oklahoma discuss how more forever chemicals are being cycled into the environment.
We're rapidly approaching an emergency issue in our state and across the nation.
Most wastewater plants do not test incoming material for potential forever chemicals, which would likely require new federal regulations for a change to be made in the operations. I'm Shanley Painter, Fox News.
Well, as Hollywood mourns the loss of Val Kilmer, we take a look at some of his iconic roles coming up. Hollywood star Val Kilmer, known for his roles in Top Gun and The Doors, passed away on Tuesday. Ashley Dvorkin gives us a look back at his life and career.
I'm your huckleberry. Val Kilmer, an actor known for immersing himself in characters and creating iconic roles, has died. In an email to the AP, his daughter Mercedes said Kilmer died Tuesday night, surrounded by family and friends. He passed away from pneumonia. Kilmer had recovered after a 2014 throat cancer diagnosis, which required 2 tracheotomies. After being the youngest actor accepted to Juilliard at the time he attended, Kilmer's first feature was the 1984 spoof Top Secret, followed by the sci-fi comedy Real Genius.
You are still dangerous.
In 1986 was his breakout big-budget debut with Tom Cruise in Top Gun as Iceman. He would later join Cruise again for an emotional reunion in 2022's Top Gun Maverick.
Thank you, Ice, for everything.
In 1991, Kilmer disappeared into the role of Jim Morrison to lead Oliver Stone's The Doors. His intense process to transform into the part became well known.
You look like somebody just walked over your grave.
The 90s included the 1993 Western Tombstone, in which he played Doc Holliday alongside Kurt Russell and Bill Paxton. He co-starred with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro in Heat in 1995. He became the Caped Crusader in Batman Forever.
I've lived a magical life, and I've captured quite a bit of it.
In a documentary about his life called Val, Kilmer shared footage he shot throughout his life and career to tell his story.
I see myself as a sensitive, intelligent human being, but with the soul of a clown.
In addition to acting, Kilmer published 2 books of poetry, was nominated for a Grammy for a spoken word album, and was a visual artist. He is survived by his 2 children, Mercedes and Jack. Val Kilmer was 65 years old. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of the Vienna Zoo's newest Siberian tiger. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.